Central Division. Puck drop for this game is going to be 7:30 p.m. We'll take you right to the Colts Center when that game is ready to start. But for right now, let's enjoy the pregame show here and let's get a look at what's going on in the Central Division. As it's a 4-point cushion for the Sudbury Wolves at the top of the Central right now. Barrie's right on their tail. They have Mississauga right there as well, as all three teams are fighting for position. Sudbury trying to hold everybody off. That's there you see the standings there, as the Wolves have already clinched a playoff spot. If the Colts win tonight, they will clinch a playoff position as well. If they beat Niagara, then you see Mississauga, and then you have Niagara and North Bay pretty far behind the rest of the pack. So that's where the Central stands. The Colts have a really tough couple of weeks here schedule-wise, so they have to make sure they take care of business against the Ice Dogs tonight. Can't overlook teams. They saw what happened a couple weeks ago against the North Bay Battalion. Can't do that again here against the Ice Dogs. This team still has some talent that can make things tough for you. As you see Jet Greaves there, he is getting ready to go. But joining me right now from ice level from the Barrie Colts is Nathan Allanson. And Nathan, that game against Mississauga kind of got away from you guys a little bit. What went wrong for you guys in that one, and what can you do to reverse it tonight?
Yeah, I don't think we had the start we wanted, and it just kind of got away from us. We didn't play our game, so we want to get back to what we were doing the two previous games there and just keep rolling.
And this team, the Niagara Ice Dogs, haven't won in 14 games, but you guys know not to take any team lightly. So what do you have to do tonight to go come in and get your 2 points tonight?
Yeah, I mean, we haven't really looked at that, but we just got to play our own game. We don't got to worry about them. They're going to come hot, so we got to be ready to go here.
Yeah, absolutely. Big game for both teams here. So, Nathan, good luck tonight. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Nathan Allanson of the Barrie Colts. He's getting ready to go as the Colts are taking on the Ice Dogs here. Let's really quickly take a look at the head-to-head between these two teams and get you caught up on what's been going on this season. The Ice Dogs have had a tough run of it, no question about it. They've now lost 14 straight. Their first point in those 14 games was just their last game, the overtime loss to the Guelph Storm. They're 9th in the Eastern Conference. They're tied for that last playoff spot with the Kingston Frontenacs. Kingston does have a game in hand, though, so Niagara technically in 9th right now with their 17 wins on the season. Barrie, meanwhile, 27-24 record. They're 5th in the Eastern Conference, trying to improve that positioning, but the top four teams, or the 3 of the 4 teams are way ahead of them. The only team that they can really realistically catch is the Sudbury Wolves at the top of the Central Division. So we'll see if they can make it and jump up to the number 2. If not, they're probably looking at a bottom 4 seed in the Eastern Conference. As you see, Andrew McLean getting ready to go for the Niagara Ice Dogs. He will be the starting goaltender for Niagara. And right now, let's take a look at the previous matchups between these two teams so far this season. It's been a pretty even matchup, actually, so far this year, as the Niagara Ice Dogs have won a couple of games against the Colts here. Back on October 26th, they opened up the season series. It was a 4-3 win for the Colts, and then a couple of Niagara victories, 6-2 in Barrie, and then 4-3 in a shootout at the Meridian Center in St. Catharines, and then 8-2 Barrie, and then 4-1 for the Colts back on February 14th. And then tonight we'll conclude the season series between these two teams, as the Colts have had their way with Niagara since Niagara unloaded a lot of their trade pieces at the trade deadline. They send guys like Akil Thomas away, and Philip Tomasino as well. So when you unload guys like that, you're certainly going to struggle a little bit more than you did before, and that's certainly what's happened with the Niagara Ice Dogs. They haven't won a game in the month of February. This is their last shot to do it, as we'll see if they can pull off their first February win here tonight on the 27th of February. So right now, in order to have a little bit more to say about the Barrie Colts, let's throw things over now to our commentating team, Mike Poirier and Gene Pereira. Guys, this is a Barrie Colts team. Still has a shot at the Central Division, but they let one get away from them on Sunday against the Steelheads. What went wrong in that one, and what can we expect from them tonight?
Well, it was a tough loss to the Mississauga Steelheads Sunday afternoon after 2 big wins against the Saginaw Spirit and the Windsor Spitfires. 2 games that I'm sure a lot of people looked at the calendar and were thinking, well, Barrie might struggle and they might not be able to get the wins, but they proved their critics wrong and got those wins. But Mississauga, they let those 2 points slip away.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they were in it after the first period, but they simply looked like they ran out of gas in that second period. And talking to Todd Miller, and 8-1 thumping, there's no doubt that they took one on the chin in that one. But, he kind of remained, positive with his team. And they come off 2 heavy games, and again, it's what he's talked about is learning lessons through for this young hockey club, and he says they hope they kind of learn the lesson going into that game. You're coming off 2 tough wins against top Western Conference opponents, and maybe you don't have what you have left in the tank, as much left in the tank, and they simply didn't keep things simple, and he wanted to simplify things in that Sunday afternoon game. They didn't, and then obviously Mississauga took advantage, and but for right now, I think Todd Miller's focus on, you look ahead, I mean, those ones happen once in a while, and he's willing to accept that and learn from it and move on.
Well, the Barrie Colts, despite that loss, still 4 points out of top spot in the Central Division behind the Sudbury Wolves, but a win here tonight would clinch them a playoff spot, which is some good news, and I'm sure for Tyson Forrester, who's had an outstanding year, he'd like to cap it off with a playoff appearance.
Yeah, I think you look, I mean, obviously he's the big gunner here in Barrie after all the trades especially, and what's really been impressive, I mean, the Colts lost, they moved out Ryan Suzuki, Picard, Jason Wilms. They moved some top offensive guys, but his numbers haven't really suffered, and really a lot of the credit to these young guys have come in, but it's credit to Forrester as well, and that consistency, I think, is what's really kind of drawing him to scouts now, one of the top prospects for the upcoming NHL draft. And again, you look at his last 8 games, I think Sunday was only his 2nd game that he didn't record a point, and really that speaks to just how consistent he's been.
And for the Barrie Colts, they shipped out their veterans and brought in a lot of new faces, and one of the players who seemed to take a little bit to get used to the systems here in Barrie, Anthony Tabak, but these last couple of games, he's starting to figure things out.
Yeah, he looks a lot more comfortable, and obviously when there's a trade and you got new line mates and new teammates, there's a little bit of an adjustment period, and it kind of really affected his offensive numbers, but you're starting to see those come around. 2 goals, 5 points in his last 3 games, and he's playing some great hockey, and I think you see that confidence now, that familiarity with his line mates. He's feeling a lot more comfortable, and I think just the confidence that he can make that extra move, and you're seeing the results.
And he got a great goal against the Saginaw Spirit in the penalty shot, and that was his first goal as a member of the Barrie Colts. So it's for the Barrie Colts, they're going to look for guys like Anthony Tabak, Josh Nelson, really to step it up here as they make the push for the playoffs, and we'll see if they can clinch it here against Niagara. But in the meantime, we'll send it back to Eric in studio.
Thanks so much, guys. I'm now joined by Evan Vueling of the Barrie Colts. Evan, you were one of the guys that was brought in at the trade deadline for the Barrie Colts, and safe to say it's worked out for this team. This team's really turned a corner since you and a couple of the other guys were brought in and Todd Miller took over behind the bench. What do you attribute to the success that this team has had in the second half since you got here?
Yeah, I think it's just how comfortable I've been. Like I've said, that from day one, the guys have welcomed me really well, and I've been able to fit in here, and me, Forrester, and some other guys have gotten some really good chemistry so far, so it's been really good.
Have you noticed any differences in the locker room in general between here and when you were in Flint?
Yeah, I think both were really good. In Flint, the boys were great too, so there's not too much of a difference. They're both great rooms to be in, for sure.
And this team is chasing the division, the top of the division of the Central, with just 4 points back of Sudbury. Is that something you guys are paying attention to, or are you just trying to go out and play your best hockey?
Yeah, I think a little bit of both. You're obviously looking at the standings here and there, and you want to be in the best spot that you can be for the playoffs. So I think if we continue to listen to what Todd has to say, and we're going to continue to be successful. And
you guys are coming up a tough loss in Mississauga on Sunday. What was the feeling after the game, and what do you guys need to do to kind of rebound from that and pick things up where you left off tonight?
Yeah, we just have to continue to do the little things right. I think we got away from our game, and a little bit of fatigue showed for sure in Mississauga that game last week. So we just have to get back to work and bring it tonight.
Yeah, a chance to get right back at it tonight. Evan, thanks for your time. We appreciate it. Good luck tonight.
Yeah, thank you.
That's Evan Vueling of the Barrie Colts, one of the trade deadline acquisitions that the Barrie Colts brought in. It has paid dividends, and we'll see if it pays dividends tonight against the Niagara Ice Dogs. Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll have more Barrie Colts hockey on Rogers TV, the pregame show. Don't go away.
At Kawartha Dairy, it's been 80 years of fresh, delicious dairy products and 80 years of incredible memories. We've come a long way since 1937, and it's all thanks to our amazing customers. Thank you, Ontario. Here's to 80 more years.
What kind of show do you want to see on Rogers TV? What interests you? Log on to rogerstv.com, fill out a show proposal, and tell us about your segment idea. We want to know what you want to see. Rogers TV, only on Rogers.
God will protect us. She is our strength. She is our light.
Did you say Guyon?
Of course.
Better than any drug. We'd also add a lot of drugs, so it was...
I figure we get them to do one of their classic circles.
Yes, they seem to want to do that a lot.
That he fell.
Whoa, I'm not driving. I'm way too stoned. How are you feeling, Veer?
Oh, since we had that talk, I'm not driving tonight at all.
What about you, Dave?
You only had a couple of drinks.
And only a couple of puffs.
I don't drink and drive. No way I'm getting behind the wheel when I smoked weed, too.
How are we getting home, then?
Oh, you can drive, Dave.
Come on, Dave.
Take one for the team, buddy.
Don't let weed and alcohol influence your decision to drive.
Yeah, I need a ride.
After involving Nuha in this program, she feels very confident. Here you have a lot of opportunity.
I learned a lot of stuff, like being kind and I'm more open-minded.
Back to Barrie Colts hockey here on Rogers TV. This is the pregame show. The Barrie Colts are getting set to take on the Niagara Ice Dogs, a big Central Division rivalry matchup here. Joining me now from the Niagara Ice Dogs is Ivan Lodnia. Ivan, you guys are coming in. This is a team that's having a bit of a tough time lately, but what are you guys doing to kind of get into the flow and kind of shake off the rough patch you guys are in right now?
It's a good question, honestly. I think just keep going. I think last game we played really well, and it was an unfortunate bounce last game, but I think we just got to keep playing and just do a little more, and hopefully we get the result tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And is it important, you think, for this team to kind of remember that this is still a young team? This is a lot of growing pains that's going to happen this season, and you guys are still fighting for a playoff spot. So is that kind of where the mindset is with this team right now?
I'd say our mindset is just the playoffs. You know, the guys, they may be young, but they've played enough games this year to realize how hard this league is and how important every game is. So I think that our mindset right now is just to keep winning as much as we can and break this streak and start a new one in the right way.
Yeah, you're having a great season, and you're having a really good season specifically against the Barrie Colts. You've got quite a number of points in these few games that you've played with Barrie. Is it something that this Colts team brings out in you that makes you extra competitive or extra successful?
No, I don't know. It just works out. You know. I honestly don't know. Barrie's a great team, and every game I go out there, I try to play the hardest I can. And, you know, fortunately, it just worked out.
Well, Ivan, we'll see if it works out tonight. You guys take on the Barrie Colts, and puck drop will be at 7:30. Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Ivan Lodnia of the Niagara Ice Dogs getting set to take on the Barrie Colts as the Ice Dogs are trying to win their first game in February. So let's take a look at the marquee matchup for tonight's game. And the marquee matchup for tonight's game is going to be Ivan Lodnia and Evan Vueling, the two guys we just spoke to. You see their stats. The stats you're seeing there, that's Ivan Lodnia's stats against the Colts this season. 5 goals and 2 assists in just the 4 games played, a +3 overall. Evan Vueling, you're seeing his stats against Niagara, including his game that he played with them while he was with the Flint Firebirds. So you see the 4 games played, 2 goals, 6 assists. So we'll see which one of them can come through tonight against teams that they've had some pretty good success against. So you see Evan Vueling getting ready for the Colts, and then it's going to be Ivan Lodnia on the other end getting ready for the Ice Dogs in their weird blue warm-up jerseys. There you see is he skating around, and you see he's getting ready to go, and both sides have a big game here. Niagara's trying to get their first win in 15 games, their first win in the whole month of February. We'll see if they can get it tonight, and the Colts, meanwhile, fighting for the division, know as well to certainly not take any opponent lightly. They found out that the hard way against North Bay a couple of weeks ago. But right now, let's throw things over again to our commentating team, Mike Poirier and Gene Pereira. And guys, this is a Niagara team that's been struggling lately to put up offense, but their game against Guelph on Sunday was a positive sign. They got 4 goals in that one, but no denying offense has been hard to come by in this last stretch for Niagara.
Yeah, the offense has been a struggle for the Niagara Ice Dogs really since the OHL trade deadline when they sent Tomasino to the Oshawa Generals and Akil Thomas to the Peterborough Petes. And really since then, they've been trying to get their offense going, but good sign though against the Guelph Storm, forced them to overtime, and they even had the lead early in that one.
Yeah, they had a 4-2 lead going into the third period there and looking to snap the streak. And, you know, you got to feel for them. It's a tough loss. They give up the tying goal, just 13 seconds remaining. Then Cam Hill scores in overtime to win it for Guelph. And look, this is a Niagara team that comes in here tonight. You know, they're going to be pretty hungry, obviously, to snap this streak. And, you know, again, it's a young hockey club. They're a rebuilding hockey club. And, you know, now they look to kind of build off that. Even though they didn't get the win that they're hoping for, hopefully they can build off that effort against Guelph.
And because of that overtime loss, they did get a big point that tied them with the Kingston Frontenacs for 8th in the Eastern Conference. Kingston right now, that game in hand, so that's why they're sitting in the 8th seed. But for the Niagara Ice Dogs, this is going to be a tough stretch to try and get into that playoff spot.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like you mentioned, I mean, anytime you deal stars like Akil Thomas and Tomasino, obviously that's a big part of your offense. And, you know, for this young club, I think what a bonus would that be if they can find a way to kind of hold off Kingston, get into the playoffs, get a little bit of experience going, you know, come playoff time. And, you know, there's no doubt. I mean, you look at the stretch there. I mean, the Frontenacs have been coming up after a poor start. And, you know, for Niagara right now, they've gone through the struggles. They're going to have to figure it out quickly as we head into the stretch drive.
And one area that I'm sure the coaching staff would like to see improved is getting pucks into the net, as goal scoring really has dried up for this team.
Yeah, it's, again, I mean, I think just only North Bay has fewer goals you know, this season. And right now, when you're, you know, you got an offense that's by committee. Obviously, Lodnia gets a big part of that offense, and he's very important on the power play. Guys like Castleman and so on. But right now, you need that scoring from depth. And I think what you have to do is simplify things and you know, get pucks to net, get bodies in front, try to find any way you can score. And first and foremost, if you're going to be competitive when you got an offense struggling like that, you got to find a way to keep the puck out of your net.
And we're even seeing players like Elijah Roberts being moved up to the forward unit. So they're trying to get anything going on the offensive side, and we'll see if the Ice Dogs can get their first win for the month of February, as they're in a tough battle for that final playoff spot in the East. And Eric, we'll send it back to you.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, tough. It's been tough going for the Niagara Ice Dogs, especially offensively. You mentioned moving Elijah Roberts up to a forward position, just trying whatever is going to work. And for the Ice Dogs, it's what you got to do when you're in this position. You're trying to fend off the Kingston Frontenacs, who have got a young team hungry as well, trying to make the playoffs. So we'll see what comes up in the next little while as we close out the OHL season. We'll see who ends up in that 8th spot, and this game could have a lot of impact on that. And the Barrie Colts, meanwhile, fighting for the Central Division, so every point counts there too. So we'll see what happens tonight at the Colt Center. Let's take a break. When we come back, we will have the top 5 plays from across the OHL from last week. You don't want to miss it. This is Barrie Colts Hockey, the pregame show on Rogers TV. Don't go anywhere.
Through United Way, I did a self-esteem course, training for peer support, and now I volunteer. It's a lesson that comes from the nature of doing work with the United Way that gives me a new lease on my life.
When you don't have the people there to support you that you know you should, your world kind of like spirals. But United Way has been the biggest change coming into high school. Having the ability to help kids succeed is so important.
His story, it felt like there was something else going on.
We're gonna do things differently this time.
I am not crazy. I think Nick has a hold on you. Don't play this game with me.
It's too easy.
He's capable of anything. And you aren't.
The Sinner. New story Thursday at 10 on Showcase.
Being
going on the Midhurst studio tour. It's just such a great way to, meet the people in your area. In Simcoe County, there's not a street or a stream or a park that you cannot find inspiration. And it's nice to use stuff that's found that you can incorporate into your repertoire. And if I can't carve it, then we do a CAD design through the computer, and then we will cast it and then add the stones. That's what I love. I love doing really different things.
We're moments away from puck drop between the Barrie Colts and the Niagara Ice Dogs, getting ready for that pregame ceremony at the Colt Center. Right now, though, let's take you back to the top 5 plays from across the OHL from last week. A lot of nice goals to show you here. Starting off, number 5, Ottawa taking on the Sioux Greyhounds, and it's going to be the 67s getting the puck and then firing the pass ahead. It's up to Joseph Garefa, and he does the rest. Great play there. He fakes out the goalie on that breakaway chance. Ottawa is red hot, probably the best team in the OHL, and plays like this are why. Let's get one more look at it as he just fakes out the Sioux goaltender. Nothing he can do there as Garefa scores, one of the top 10 scorers in the OHL this season. Number 4, Erie taking on the Kitchener Rangers, and it's another hot team here showing off what they're made of as Francesco Pinelli somehow gets it by the goaltender. You don't even see it on that angle, but a great backhand. He's able to sneak it in somehow. You don't even really see it on this angle either, as we'll get a bird's eye view here, and you'll just see the puck just go past the line. Yep, right there. That's a goal. Great goal there from Francesco Pinelli. And number 3, Oshawa taking on the Hamilton Bulldogs, and it's going to be a steal caused by Brett Newman. It's over to Alan McShane, and he gets it right back to Newman in front of the net. Nice backhander there for the beauty goal from Brett Newman. He forces the turnover, and McShane rewards him right away by getting the pass right back to him, and he makes no mistake putting it back behind the net as Oshawa, one of the top 4 teams in the East, right there. Number 2, Kingston taking on the Ottawa 67s, and this is just a really nice moment as picking up the rebound in front of the net. It's going to be Graham Clark as a play here develops, and right in front of the net, there's Graham Clark to put it in. His first game back with the 67s. He was out 4 months with a shoulder injury. That's his first game back, his second shift back, and he gets the opening goal of this game as he's right there where he needs to be, puts back the rebound. Nice moment there for Graham Clark. It was a long time coming to get back into that 67s lineup, but he's in there now. But number 1, it's going to be the captain of the Sudbury Wolves, Macaulay, don't call me Culkin Carson, as he's going to come all the way around and he's going to fire the backhander past the Saginaw goaltender. Beauty goal there for the captain, Macaulay Carson. And let's get one more look at it here as he celebrates with his teammates. And then let's get one more look at it here. I really don't like those Sudbury jerseys, but other than that, don't like the black on blue action myself, but beautiful goal there from Macaulay Carson as the Sudbury Wolves are still on top of the Central Division, and plays like that are part of the reason why, as that's the number 1 play from across the OHL last week. A lot of nice goals there in that countdown, but let's look at the standings now in the OHL. We'll start with the Eastern Conference as it's Ottawa still running away with things in the East with those 89 points. The Wolves on top of the Central Division, 63 points on the campaign. The Petes and the Generals tied with 69 points each, and the Barrie Colts 59 points, so still have a shot at getting past the Wolves at the top of that Central Division. But like I said, the Colts have a tough couple of weeks matchup-wise, so we'll see if they can weather that storm. Hamilton Bulldogs right behind them with 56 points, and then the Steelheads with 55. So tight bottom 4 here, or top 3 of the bottom 4, I should say, because Kingston there with 40 points in the 8th spot. The Ice Dogs tied with them. Kingston has the game in hand, so technically the Frontenacs are the 8th seed. It's going to be interesting to see which of those 2 young teams is able to pull it off and get in with the number 8 seed. And you have North Bay as well with 32, starting to play a little bit better lately, but might be a little too late for North Bay this season, but certainly something to build on for next year. Over to the West Western Conference, and it's still a logjam in the West, as right now it's the London Knights at the top with 80 points. Right behind them, though, is the Flint Firebirds with 78 at the top of their division. Kitchener's 1 point back of the London Knights for first in the Midwest. Saginaw Spirit in the West just 1 point back of the Flint Firebirds. So all four teams just 3 points separating the top four. Then you have the Windsor Spitfires, Guelph Storm, 69 points and 68 respectively. Owen Sound Attack, 63 points. And then you have the Erie Otters trying to fend off the Sioux Greyhounds for the last playoff spot in the Western Conference. Erie hasn't been there and been into the playoffs in 3 years, so it'd be nice to see them back. But the Greyhounds trying to have something to say about it. And then you have the Sarnia Sting in 10th place in the Western Conference. Sarnia is not a bad team, but the West is just really, really tough this year. So all those teams fighting to stay in it and stay on top of the divisions for some of them. But let's look at the top scorers right now across the OHL. As you'll see, it's a tight race. You got Marco Rossi and Cole Perfetti, two of the top rookies from last season, duking it out for the top of the OHL scoring list this season. Nice sophomore years from both of them, to say the least. Then you got Philip Tomasino. He was traded to Oshawa at the trade deadline, and he has caught fire with the Generals. You have Connor McMichael, the London Knights, Arthur Kaliev of Hamilton, Pavel Gogolev of the Guelph Storm, and then you got 3 more 67s. That's how dominant they've been this season. Jack Quinn, 47 goals. That leads the entire CHL, not just the OHL. 47 goals for Jack Quinn. Austin Keating and Joseph Garefa, 8 and 9. And then you have Brett Newman rounding it out from Oshawa at number 10 with 78 points himself. But so a lot of scoring across the OHL, a lot of great young players. That's what the OHL is all about, this player development and watching these guys turn into stars at this level before moving on to the next level and seeing how they can develop their professional careers. But tonight, the main event, of course, is the Barrie Colts taking on the Niagara Ice Dogs. There's a couple of other matchups going on across the OHL. We'll get you up to date on those in just a few minutes. But right now, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we will have puck drop between the Barrie Colts and the Niagara Ice Dogs. Don't go away.
It's so inspiring to know that there's people out there that are willing to help people who've gone the situation that I've gone through. Because of United Way, I'm able to stand in front of you today with a good job that I can actually make something of myself.
Call the Rogers TV viewer response line, email us, or connect with us on social media.
Let's go get it! Go get the stick! I am tired of this. Wow. No! You're something. Hell yes.
It was John's graduation. We were so proud. We all got together for a picnic. That's when we heard coming from the radio. So we stopped and we listened. It helped us get to safety. That's why when I think of John, because now he has a real future to look forward to.
Growing up, I just felt this hatred for myself, and I stopped planning for the future because I didn't think I had one. Without United Way and the generosity of the whole organization, I don't even really know where I'd be.
This is Rogers TV, Orillia.